wow, what a difference a few short weeks can make. It's only been 4 weeks, but it feels like maybe a lot longer than that. That we were looking forward to the end of spring break. We were planning, we were getting ready to do prom and graduation for my daughter, who's a high school senior. We were planning and practicing for baseball. And now a lot of those things aren't going to happen. And so, and I think that as this pandemic has gone on, the questions that I'm hearing from my children are different. When it first started, there was a lot of questions of what is it, why is it happening, how do we stop it, and now the questions have shifted to more of when will it end, how much longer do we have to social distance, how much longer do we have to quarantine and shelter in place, and all of these new terms that we're learning. And so I'm finding that one of the questions that I'm getting from folks and fellow staff members at the hospital are, how do I talk to my children? And so I wanted to spend just a few minutes addressing that. I think that as healthcare workers, our concern for our family is one of the things that is at the forefront of our minds. We worry about what we might be bringing home to them. We worry about what not being there for them, and the stress and toll that the work that we're doing takes on them. And so, like I said, I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking to you about how to talk to your children, about things that you can do to ease their stress and to help them as they continue to navigate these ever-changing situations and to cope with a life that is radically different than anything any of us would have imagined. And so the first piece of advice that I would give is to remember that you as parents set the tone. And so it's extremely important that we remain calm. And I know that that's going to be easier said than done at times, whether you're officing from home and you're trying to balance getting your office work done with kids going to school and the distractions that those pose, or whether it's coming home from a long day at the hospital and having been worried about and worrying about your children's well-being. And so we have to remain calm. Our kids are going to pick up on our fear, our anxiety, our stress, and many times they will model that back. They'll see our reactions and then assume that if the adults in my life are acting this way, then this is the appropriate response to a stressful situation, and they'll model that back to us. And so we need to make sure that what we're showing them and what we're demonstrating to them is a sense of peace. And so if we want our kids to have a sense of peace about what's going on, then we need to model that for them. And so as parents, it's important that we find ways to foster that peace in us as well. The second thing that I would say, and the second piece of advice, is to be honest. Talk to your kids about what's going on. Answer their questions straightforward, in an honest way, in age-appropriate language. Talk to them realistically about what they're feeling. Be honest. I think that there's a natural tendency in parents to want to protect their children from the bad things of the world, and that's a noble aspiration. However, when they ask us questions and we try to shield them rather than being honest, then what we do is we begin to eat away at the trust that they might have for us. And so again, you want to answer those questions honestly. And the honest answer can sometimes be, I don't know. I know that I've been asked several times by my children, when are we going to be able to go back, and when are we going to be able to go out and eat again? When are we going to play baseball? When are we going to get to go to the park? And I would love to be able to give them an answer and say, this is when it's going, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But I can't give them that answer because I don't know. And so I have to honestly look at them and say, I know you're looking to me for an answer, and the only answer that I can give is I don't know. And be comfortable with that, and be okay with not knowing, because there's a lot of things that we don't. I would also say that when it comes to being honest, make sure that your answers are, that whatever information you're giving out is coming from reliable sources. I know that I've spent several times now talking to my children about things they're seeing on the internet and things they're hearing from friends when they do talk, and some of it's just not true. And so I have to go back and I have to make sure that what they're hearing is honest information, is honest, is accurate information as well. Another thing that I would advise is to make sure that you're having a daily check-in, and this needs to be an ongoing conversation that you're having with your children. But make it a point daily to check in and find out how they're doing, find out how they're feeling, find out what they're hearing, and what, if any of that is causing them concern. It can be as simple as just saying, "Hey, how are you feeling right now?" And then allowing them the space and the time to express those feelings, even if they seem unrealistic at the moment. Allowing them to let them know that it is okay to have feelings. That we don't want to wallow in those feelings. We don't want to get stuck in some of those negative feelings. But it's okay to feel scared. That it's okay to feel anxiety and stress. But then to talk to them about ways to respond to those everything. And so we want to make sure that that we're doing those daily check-ins, that we're having that ongoing conversation about how they're feeling and about what they're hearing, so that we can provide that feedback. We can give them instruction on how to respond appropriately, and then giving each other a little bit of grace to be able to feel things that maybe we don't even have words for. Another thing that I would advise is another tip would be to include them in the process of helping others. I think that it's important, as we are having to share a common space for much greater lengths of time than any of us are used to, that it's important that each person in the family learn and see how and begin to see how their behavior serves others. If you have multiple children, include your children in comforting other children when they're scared. Explain to them how pulling together and doing chores around the house help and serve one another. And then, in addition to that, when possible, and if appropriate, look for ways to serve others outside the home, whether it's sending a card, making a point to call a neighbor, or just check in on someone nearby. But include them in service to others, but also allow them to see how their actions and the things that you're asking them to do are acts of service. And so frame washing hands in the context of service. Frame social distancing in the context of serving others. And so you want to stay calm. You want to set the tone. You want to be honest in your conversations. You want to include them in helping others. You want to do your daily check-ins, and you want to keep that conversation open about how they're feeling and what they're experiencing. And then finally, the last thing that I would say is that you want to engage in spiritual disciplines that will nurture your spirit and guide your soul. For us and our family, that means that we pray a lot. Our prayer list has come to include many of you and our coworkers, many of you at the hospital and coworkers that we know. It includes people who are working to find a cure for this virus. It includes teachers who are having to work from home and find new ways of instructing. We pray for one another, but I do believe that you want to model for them an attitude of prayer, that you want to model an attitude of not just asking for protection for yourself, but making a list of requests for yourself, but also making a list of people that you're going to regularly pray for, and include that as part of your daily routines. And if prayer is not your means is not the primary means that you use to nurture your soul and to guide your spirit, then I would encourage you to engage in those in other practices that would benefit you and your family, but don't neglect those. I think one of the things that happens in very stressful situations is that the first thing we neglect is the things that speak to our heart, speak to our spirit. And so I want to encourage you not to do that in the midst of busy schedules, in the midst of trying to juggle work and online learning and all of those other things, that you don't lose the importance of making sure that you're also taking care of your heart and spirit. And so my prayer is, and my hope is, that soon we will all be back together working in the hospital, that I'll be able to see each of you face to face and not talk to you through a video camera. And my prayer is for you and your families, knowing that you are on the front line serving our community, and knowing that in the midst of that you have family concerns. So please know of my ongoing prayers for each of you and your families, and also know that the chaplains here at our hospital are here to support you, as well as our patients and families. And so know that we're here to support you, and that you can reach out to us in many of the same ways that you've always done. Feel free to leave a message in my office at extension 77142. Those calls are forwarded to my phone at home, and we will respond to those. And also, if you need more immediate help, more immediate support, you can always reach out via text at 281-844-5317. Again, it was good talking to you. Know that I'm praying for you, and we're here for you if you need us. God bless.